All right, so this morning my friend sent me a link to a clip of Dr. Steve Brule bit on YouTube. And before I could enjoy the comedy stylings of John C. Reilly, which I recommend, I was served this absolutely bizarre ad for a newspaper.
Hey, do you want to see something extremely interesting? Well, take a look at this.
While Jeffrey Epstein has been in the news a lot over the last week, how many newspapers do you find reporting this? His questionable source of wealth, as well as his ties to the Clintons, as well as how Trump actually barred him from Mar-a-Lago many years ago. The Epoch Times is one of the only sources you can get information like this because we do our investigations without any hidden agendas, and we don't have any false narratives to push. We give you the facts and let you make up your own mind.
He has clearly no agenda in tying him to the Clintons and excusing Donald Trump's connection to him. But that is weird, right? What is the Epoch Times? Epoch Times? Well, strangely enough, I happen to know what it is, which is a small newspaper that spent more money on pro-Trump Facebook ads in the last 6 months than any organization outside the Trump campaign. It is a nonprofit organization that dwarfs all of these other media outlets in page views and engagement, running essentially a massive full-time pro-Trump propaganda operation. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Our own Ben Collins and Brandy Zadrozny have this jaw-dropping exclusive look into this publication and its background, and Ben Collins joins me right here to explain us all about it. So first, let's talk about the scale, right? So there's lots of different publications out in the world.
Yeah.
They don't all have a big reach. It's not a big deal. But this has a very big reach.
We're talking billions of views of the Bee. That's where we're at. This is larger than any, in April, it was larger than any traditional news outlet, period. In fact, it was larger than any but 10 other people who make videos in the whole world on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
No.
Yeah, it's true. And they do it. Okay, here's the thing, though. It sounds impossible, and you're like, I haven't heard of this thing. Ask somebody over 50. Ask anybody over 50, because they've probably seen an ad from them. They spend $1.5 million in the last 6 months just putting this stuff out there
and pushing it particularly to people in that age group.
They target it to people over 50 on Facebook, and that's something that we know. And also, they send physical flyers to people in the mail, mostly to elderly people, that show how Hillary Clinton is running a cabal that's ending the world.
Okay, so the editorial slant is pro-Trump kind of right-wing conspiratorial generally.
Correct,
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who runs this thing?
It is. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. It is run by a group called Falun Gong, which is a anti-Chinese communist group that believes anti-communist Chinese group that believes that the world is coming to an end soon. In fact, they think that Judgment Day is 30 years late, and that all communists in this Judgment Day will go to hell, and everybody else will go to heaven. Anybody who's sympathetic to Falun Gong, and they believe that Donald Trump was sent in part to bring about this Judgment Day.
So part of their spiritual belief,
yes,
and it is a sort of spiritual practice, right? Spiritual group, is that Donald Trump is like a key figure in delivering the final judgment and victory over Chinese communism that they so anxiously wait for.
That is 100% correct. We talked to, look, when we heard this story, a guy walked into our office, he told us this stuff, and we're like, you're nuts, man. And for 5 months, we reported the story out, and that's exactly what we found from various different ex-employees.
Now, I want to be clear here. If you know anything about the Falun Gong, they really have been the subject of horrible treatment by the Chinese government, torture, imprisonment. It's an incredibly repressive regime, and I don't want to in any way make light of they come by their hatred of the Chinese state, honestly. Let's just be clear about that.
Two things can be bad at once.
Right.
Yep.
But what is when did this thing start and how did it grow? It's just such a bizarre thing for them to take on as the thing they're doing.
The Epoch Times?
Yes.
Yeah, so...
there's lots of people with spiritual beliefs, spiritual practices all over the world. It's not everyone that's running the largest publisher of pro-Trump right-wing news in the U.S.
Sure, they have they have a leader. They have the leader of the spiritual group is named Li Hongzhi, and he said we need to become normal media. They had this thing kicking around, which was just about spreading the gospel of this thing. And they said, we need to become normal media. And this was a few years ago. And ever since then, they tried to hire Western journalists, and they would bring them on, and they would learn how to sort of talk like Americans, and then they would fire them. And that's what happened here, too. They had a whole staff of American journalists, and they fired them 10 days before the election in 2016. And now they have people who sound like that guy, who are, you know, really close to sort of like sounding the part, but it's not all the way there.
And so they have now published. I've been sort of looking at them. They say this is a hit piece and that you're
we're Chinese spies.
And you're Chinese spies, and you're towing the Chinese communist line. What is I guess what's the end game here? Like they just keep growing and spreading their message, and they hope that like Donald Trump delivers some final victory over the Chinese communists?
Yeah, sure. Look, they are really deeply entwined with the administration. They had a 40-minute sit-down interview with Lara Trump a couple weeks ago in Trump Tower. The president's Facebook page has shared their content 6 times. Donald Trump Jr. has shared it twice. When they sent a letter back to us with responses, they actually published it as an article, and Devin Nunes tweeted that response as like, they got you, NBC. So like they are really wrapped up in this. They are very deeply tied into conservative media. You may not see it if you're, again, under 50, if you're in some different filter bubbles.
Look for it now, though.
The second you say it out loud, you're going to get an ad for it.
I saw it this morning, right before Steve Brule. It's a fantastic piece of reporting and really a fascinating look into the sort of current ecosystem of the media. Ben Collins, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.